Hello and welcome to day 45 in this quest for a 2000 rating on chess.com. So let's begin and find an opponent for today. Alright, the black pieces again, and it looks like we're fairly evenly matched here. So d4, alright, so let's see here. We'll set up like we're doing the King's Indian defense, but we'll wait and see what they do. Alright, and then we'll go into the Grunfeld opening, which we've played before. So hopefully I can remember all the opening variations. Alright, so here they have the option to capture with their flank pawn, capturing our valuable central pawn. And then if we recapture with the knight, they can gain the pawn center by pushing to e4 and attacking our knight. Okay, so they go ahead and do that. So now if they play e4, they'll attack our knight, but now we can capture their knight. All right, and then here, let's see if I remember this correctly. I think we have to play c5 and immediately attack there. All right. Or do I just press here? Play. Already I'm having trouble remembering if I have to play the bishop. Develop this bishop fianchetto first, or if I play this move first. So I'm going to go with that. Maybe I should have fianchettoed first, because now they do have this option to check us. But if they did that, I guess we could. Well, we could block with our bishop. Alright, so maybe I misplayed it. Maybe I had to fianchetto first and then push the c-pawn. So maybe that's why they are thinking, looking to see if I made a mistake here. Because now we have this possible check here on our king. So I don't know, maybe. Okay, so now they just push forward, so that's interesting. All right, well, now we can fianchetto and threaten this fork of the king and the rook. So maybe that could help us, and then we can push our queen up here and add more pressure. So I guess we'll see here. Now, do we push the queen there next to just add more pressure? That seems to be the thing to do. So maybe we just go there and add even more pressure. The only problem is he's gained space here in the center. Alright, so he goes ahead and just now what should we try here? Alright, well, I probably should castle to safety, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. All right, now, what should we try? Well, we could just push here, develop our bishop here, try and stop him from castling. So that's an option. Try and develop here, see if we can stop him from castling. right. The only thing is that move kind of blocked us out. Okay, but we'll go there. And we have to get this knight developed here. So we have to develop. All right, so he captures. Now, I guess we could just, do we want to capture here and prevent him from castling? So that is the situation we're looking at. I'm gonna say we'll do that. That prevents him from castling. He could block with his queen, and then I guess we could capture and keep him stuck in the center. All right, so what did that move do? What did that do? All right, so why would he make that move? What, are there any threats with that move? Oh, he wants to push forward here with his pawns. Okay. Well, we have to develop this knight, so I guess we're going here. And all right, so he pushes that way. Okay, so now if we capture there, which is probably what we have to do, all right. We could ignore that and maybe, do we want to push forward here with this pawn? No, because then it'll kind of open up. Well, I don't know. He could try and line up and cause threats here. All right. Well, all right. Well, I'm kind of stuck here. Not sure what I want to try and do. So, do I want to get rid of that defensive piece? And probably need to reposition my queen. I have an unprotected piece here, two unprotected pieces. So, all right. I'm just going to reposition. I wasted way too much time there. 2.5 minutes. Okay, that was kind of ridiculous. So, now what could he do? Maybe he could capture. Okay, so, that was kind of coming. Now, all right, do I just ignore him there? Let's move our queen here. That way if he checks us, we can block with our queen, end up having our knight up here in a better position, and we slow down the possible movement here. All right. So now, what would be a good move here? Well, it might be too early to centralize our queen here. It could just be attacked by this pawn. At the same time, I kind of want to move here, but then that would leave me with this isolated pawn. So why don't we just attack here? I don't know. If we... All right. Well, we need to activate these pieces. So if he tries to go there, so once again, I'm taking forever. All right, does it really matter here so much? Let's go to the half open file. We'll do that. All right, so he decides to push forward. We'll go there. Now he can check us and we can't block him with our queen anymore. I mean, I guess we could push this pawn, but he's going to end up having a passed pawn here. I mean, I guess we'll have a passed pawn here, but as soon as we capture, he captures towards the center, then his knight jumps into the position. So, I don't know, that's not looking to be the best option there. All right. Okay, what can he do? And what do we have any kind of threats? We need to try to get something going here. We have to activate this knight. This knight is just not doing much here. All right. I mean, he could just try and check us with his queen. We could block with this pawn. I don't know. It looks like I got myself into a constricted position. And maybe it all started with him pushing that pawn forward in the center here. Okay. So he does something like that. Well, now what do we do? Do we just capture? But he's going to capture towards the center. Then if we go there... All right. if we capture there, we could have problems because it'll just help him. I don't know. This is looking kind of rough here. All right, well, we have to do something. So let's capture there, see what he does. Then we need to push forward here with this pawn to give ourselves some room. All right. Now, we have to take control of this open file here. So that is important. We have to take control of that open file. So we probably need to jump our knight up into here as well. But we have to jump here, try and get control of this open file. That's pretty important. Now, if he puts a rook on that file first and then we go here, what if he just moves to here and we capture? Well, this pawn, I don't know, it could be weak, but it's a passed pawn. It'll be attacking the knight. We'll have to move to here, then jump in front of it. I don't know. It's starting to get a little tricky here. Okay, so we do need to take control of this open file, but what is the best way to do that? We'll just go there. Okay, well, now if he threatens to jump up there, I don't want him doing that. I don't want him coming over on this side. So we'll go there. Maybe it would have been a better move to immediately move my queen over here. Okay, we'll do that now. And I probably need to bring this rook up here as well. All right, well, that's good that he went that way. Now we can try and double our rooks up into his position. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, what do we have? Okay, finally he does that. So, do we just block? Do we just block? I guess we are just blocking. If he captures, it pulls our king up towards the center of the board and activates our king a little bit better. Man, but this passed pawn here could be trouble. But if he captures, at least it pulls us closer. And we're doing a pretty good job of controlling this, so he can't jump his knight in here. Or we capture, then our rook captures. So I don't know. This could be dangerous, though. Letting that piece maneuver so. All right. Well, now he could try and jump into the position there. All right, do I just push this pawn forward? Man, he's really... All right, maybe I go here. Maybe if I jump up here and take control of his 7th rank, does that work? Or should I just go ahead and double up now? I'm going to go ahead and just double up now. All right. So he does that. Now, should we... Well, we'll just go there. Now, would this be a problem if he moves his queen down here? You know, he could go here and go after this pawn. What kind of threats do we have? Do we immediately go after? If he goes there, I mean, I guess we could jump up here and try and get into this position. Or we just go here. I don't know. This is looking kind of rough. We probably need to try and take control of the 7th rank immediately. If he targets our A pawn, you know, he could try and jump here, go after this queen, you know, attack our queen. Okay, so he just pushes forward here. Which is not too good. That forces us to go here. You know, and that could cause some problems. I guess we could back up here, try and go after this pawn, but now we're playing defense, which is not good. I mean, what does he do now? He just goes after this pawn over here. Okay. Well, now what? Now what? Do we have to bring our queen over here? Maybe something like this. But he could check us. He could definitely check us. Okay. Well, what did that do? All right. Well, maybe we go here and threaten him. Now we threaten a check up here with our queen. And then we could jump in here. But I don't know, would that be too slow? All right, what now? Now it is not looking good. If we capture with our rook, maybe we try that. This is not looking good at all. Okay. Well, if we capture with the knight, he just captures with the pawn, or he ignores that. No, he would capture there. All right, if we capture with the knight and he pushes forward, then we just capture. So he would capture this way. Now he's probably going to capture with his rook. So if we capture, he captures with the rook. We capture, our queen ends up here. He pushes this pawn. And we have to start checking. We check. We check. If we check, he could go there. All right, well, that's what we have to do. We have to capture. All right. So we capture, and well, I don't know if there's too much to think about. He just captures with the pawn. Maybe he's thinking about pushing immediately, but I don't know. It looks like the best move is to capture with the pawn. Then we're forced to capture with our rook here. Or excuse me, let's see here. All right, so he captures with the pawn. We capture with our rook. Oh man, then there's this in-between move of his queen jumping up here and pinning our rook. So if he captures, then he captures with the pawn. We capture. He could move up here and pin our rook with his queen. Then we would have to move our queen up there. Well, we're pretty much forced to capture like this. Now, will he jump his queen up here and pin our rook? Okay, so he just does that. Now, at least we have some checks, and we're probably going to need them. So, the question is, do I have to block with my rook here to d7? We have 6 pawns to 6, so we're equal in material. So that is the question. Do I have to block or do I take? If I take and he pushes here, what do I have? Check. A check. If he goes there, I can check him and pick off this rook. So I would probably have to check him on e3. And if he goes into the corner, I can just check him again and go back and forth. If he goes here to f1, I check him. He has to protect his rook. I check him. All right, well, I'm going to go for it here. So now I have to check him. Oh, unless he moves forward. Did I overlook something? Okay, well, that I was not expecting. So, I think he could have moved his king forward too and stopped any checks. Well, I don't know. Maybe if I move there, that could have been a problem. All right. So now, do I go here and attack, or do I just block? I probably pretty much have to block here. So we pretty much have to block. Then all right, if I go there, okay, this is the other option. No, I don't know if I want to do that though. I probably just have to activate my king, get my king into the center here. And I'm running out of time. Let's see here. Do I check? He's forced to take. I take, his rook takes, then I move my king up here and try and get ready to pick this off. I think I have to get up here, I have to get closer first. And here we are down into some time trouble again. Okay, so now I have an option. I have the option of just checking. He would have to capture. Well, he doesn't have to capture. I mean, I could capture him and then I could run over and go after this pawn. But if I go here, check, he captures, I capture, he goes here, I move over here. All right, what about if I go here immediately? Okay, no, that's a problem. All right, so we're doing that. Then I can go after this pawn here. I have a majority over here. All right, so we just have to hang in there. I think we kind of got out of that problem. I don't know. I think he had something a little bit better there, and we were in trouble earlier. So it just shows if you hang on, you might be able to pull through. But the game's not over yet, so let's see what he does here. No matter what, we can pick this off next. You know, will he try and go over here? And attack this? If he does that, we can just push forward. You know, and then what does he do? You know, maybe he could push this pawn, but then we could just capture that. So, I don't know. I think we're in a decent position here. All right. What are his options? Just move his king up further. You know, he could go rook to h4, attacking this, but we could push forward. If he tries to push this up, we just capture. But I don't know. I think we're in a good position. He doesn't want to trade rooks because we're about to go ahead in material. We'll have a passed pawn. Well, we'll have a pawn majority over here. And over on this side, we're about to pick this pawn off. Okay. Well, we'll just go ahead and capture. All right, well, now do we go after his king, or do we go after these two pawns here? We could immediately go after these pawns. All right, I see what he's trying to do here. He wants to push one of these forward. Okay, so maybe do we go here? He wants me to capture one of them. You know, if he pushes this one forward and I capture, then this one could be a problem. So before I run out of time, I just need to move. So we'll go after this one. Then we could probably just push this pawn up. So that might be the next possibility. We'll just push this pawn up here. I don't know. This game probably should be a draw now. We just push forward there. Gotta be careful here. I have to be careful. All right, let's keep his king out of the position. All right. Let's do that. Then we could push over here as well. All right. Do we push and make a passed pawn over here? Maybe that's what we do. We just create a passed pawn over here. All right. Now, do we push here? If he captures, we capture. Well, then he could just push forward there. So, do we go after him like this? Might as well do that. All right. Okay. Well, now what do we do? He's going to try and create a passed pawn over there. We'll go there. And then we could attack him. Go that way. I don't know if I did this right. I probably messed up there. Let's see. Yeah, it's going to lead to a draw now. So I didn't play that as good as I could have. I kind of messed up in the end. The time down under a minute was kind of getting to me. All right, so I got to be careful I just don't run out of time here. All right, we'll just do that. Oh my gosh, did I just blunder? What? What was that? Oh my gosh. Well, that was horrendous. Horrendous. I cannot believe I just did that. Oh my gosh, that was just terrible. Sorry you guys had to watch that. What a stupid, horrible blunder. Moving too fast. Like, I don't know, once I get under a minute, a couple minutes, then everything turns That was just a horrible blunder. Looks like I need to do a video on how to avoid blunders, I guess. Looks like I need to do a video on how to avoid blunders. That was despicable. Horrible ending. Sorry you guys had to watch that. Oh my gosh. An easy draw, and I just made a blunder. So I'll definitely have to do a video on how to avoid blunders. So I don't know, maybe I'll do that video next. So look for the next video, how to avoid blunders. Oh my gosh. That was so awful. All right, well, that's what happens when you move too fast and let your time run down so much and have to hurry. Okay, well, that happens. We better move on. I'll do a quick game review here and see. All right, so we played at 72.5 versus their 76, and it looks like we were winning at some point. Well, they were ahead for a while for the first half of the game, and then we were definitely winning, so I'll have to see what happened there, how we gave up that advantage. And then it just went to a draw until this blunder. So inaccuracies, they had 11, we had 7. Mistakes, they had 2, we had 6 mistakes. Man, 2 misses, we had 1 miss, and we each had 1 blunder. It says it's natural to forget, about tactics in the end game, but it cost you in this game. A good time to review. All right. Well, I guess it happens to everybody. So, beginners all the way up to grandmasters even have some blunders sometimes, but that is so ridiculous. Such a terrible blunder. All right, so it says that is a mistake. Better would have been what here? To attack in the center. To just go ahead and attack this pawn. So if they pushed forward, which is what I was worried about, if they push forward, well, I guess it would let me bring my knight up to here, but then they would have that strong passed pawn. If they could push this forward, well, let's see. If they did that, I don't know. That's tricky. We'll take a look at that in the analysis. So moving here was a mistake. Best would have been, once again, to attack this pawn in the center. So, that pawn caused me a lot of trouble later in the game. So, I guess I should have tried to attack their center while I could. All right, so they end up with this pawn just sitting there in the center. That is a mistake. Best would have been to just move back. But then, I don't know, I was worried about them jumping here, then jumping that knight down here to e6, And then what do I do? This rook would have to move because it would be under attack. I mean, well, he's threatening a fork. So I'd have to move the queen up, move this rook. Maybe this knight could jump over here and attack, but I don't know. I didn't like that position. And it's showing that no matter what, white is ahead here. Okay. Knight takes e5 is a miss. You permitted the opponent to eventually win a rook. You ignored an opportunity to win a pawn. Okay. Best would have been just ignoring that knight and stepping off of this diagonal. All right. Well, we traded off, and here black is ahead. So right now, it says now your opponent can't stop you from winning a pawn if you make the right moves. So we capture there. This is a mistake because we turned our active rook, which was here, into a passive rook. So best would have been, and I debated this move. So if you're not sure whether to make your rook passive by playing defense or active by attacking, it's usually better to attack. And that would have doubled my, more than doubled my chances here, my evaluation. And it says this is the only move that works. So here they would either have to put their king back here in the back rank and be trapped to protect this pawn, or they move forward and we just pick that off. And then we could get behind these pawns. So that's the big mistake that I made in the end game. I ended up getting into a passive position. It says this is a mistake, moving my king up. So what would have been better? And see this move here, I thought about this. So definitely we'll have to take a look at this in the evaluation. Let's see what moves they're showing. They capture, we capture. Well, here they would have to, why wouldn't they push that pawn forward? You would think they could have pushed their pawn instead of giving it up. I don't know. We'll have to look at that in the analysis. All right. So here, so right now we're completely winning in this position. So where did we go wrong? Okay, we're still doing good. That was a mistake. We should have stayed over here. So best would be to start pushing our passed pawn. Man. We just didn't play that endgame right. I guess the clock ticking down under a minute. I was trying to gain some time back on the clock. I really have to work on my time trouble because then if I'm not careful, I make more mistakes in the end game. All right, so now the game's a draw until we make this stupid blunder here, which all we had to do is move away, I guess. Move away. Yeah, our only good move would be to move away somewhere instead of this stupid move. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I made that. Best would have been just to move over here. And I don't know, then we can check the king. But even if he takes this, it should have been a draw. So the game's not over till it's over. Another valuable lesson. And I think my next video will be how to avoid blunders. I'll do that in the Chess Beginner to Winner series, the next lesson, because that's a very good lesson for beginners, players of all levels. All right, so after this, I should have just resigned, but I thought I would play on and just see if there was a chance that he would, stalemate me by accident, but All right, so it said you had a pretty competitive game there. Your opponent had a good opening, but you were on another level. Both of you navigated the middle game well. You both battled pretty evenly in the end game until my blunder. But I don't know, it looks like I made some mistakes there when I was winning. Okay, so I played at a 1650 level, they played at 1600, but none of that matters when you blunder the game away. All right, quick analysis here. Let's see if we can just go through the highlights of the game. So, let's see. It's starting to get dark. Let me turn on the light in case it's too dark for you all. Okay, so d4, knight to f6. We're just kind of waiting to see what they play next. They play c4. If we just play g6 here, fianchetto, and play d6, it could be the King's Indian defense, which is an interesting opening system that you can play, where you usually play the same moves in the opening, but we're going for the Grunfeld because the King's Indian defense, I used to play that a lot, and it's a little more cramped, the position, where the Grunfeld seems to open the game up a little bit more, and black's usually not quite as cramped. So they move forward. Now they're threatening to play e4 after this knight to c3 move and just take control of the center. So in the King's Indian defense, you let them do that. You just fianchetto, then you play d6 here. Or if they play e4, you want to play d6 first. That way they don't chase your knight. And if they do that, you can still break apart their pawns. All right, so the Grunfeld, we push forward here, taking a share of the center, but it allows them to capture our more valuable central pawn with the flank pawn, the c pawn. And so we recapture, and now when they take control of the center with both pawns, we trade off a knight here, which if you are in a more cramped position, it's usually to your advantage to trade off some of your opponent's pieces if they have more space, because as they lose pieces, it's harder to defend pawns that they've pushed forward. So they capture here. So they have a nice strong pawn center, and we want to go ahead and attack that. Now, it looks like c5 or bishop to g7 was good, and I have to look at my opening repertoire book to see if maybe I should have played g7 first, I'm thinking. And the computer says that's the best move, because why not? Then you're closer to castling here. And it gives you time to wait and see what they're going to play next. So I think that's what I should have done. I misplayed the opening a little bit. I should have played bishop to g7 immediately, and maybe then tried to play c5. But I played c5 first, which is still a book move. Now the best move is for them to check with the bishop, which is what I thought they might do. And then I thought, well, if they do that, then I probably have to block with my bishop. And then if they capture, my queen could develop maybe, or my knight even. But let's see, bishop to b5, it recommends to actually block with your knight. So, I don't know, I guess that's pretty interesting, that possibility. You just block with your knight, that way you don't give up your bishop pair. Let's see here. Oh, but then that could be something interesting to look at. So here, if they play this, and then we block with the knight, this looks crazy because they can play d5 and you're pinned to your king. But now, I don't know, this looks kind of tactical. They recommend a6, or says the best move is that, threatening a check here. So well, if they capture, I mean, what if they go ahead and capture there? Then what do? Then it says you just capture here. Then they would push to c7. But this would be a weak pawn here, even though it is pretty far advanced. And if they captured your b pawn, you just recapture and you have a developed bishop attacking this unprotected pawn. All right, well, let's see what... Instead of capturing the knight, it looks like their best move is queen to a4. And then here it's really crazy. It says the best move is to check, capture with check, king moves up to e2, and then bishop to g7. Is there any reason why you wouldn't just capture this rook immediately? Any reason why you wouldn't capture that rook immediately? Let's see what happens if you capture that. Well, then they capture here. Oh, that could be bad. Okay. Yeah, they capture here, and then there's tactical threats of them capturing here, threatening a check. Yeah, that would be pretty bad. Okay, anyway, before I get off on a wild goose chase here, let's see. So, in the game, d5 was played. Let's go back a little bit. So we should have played bishop to g7. We push the pawn instead. They push forward, gaining space. And it says that's a good move, but bishop to e3 would have been even better. Let's see. So by them pushing forward, the game's about even now. So we go ahead and play that, which is the best move. Now bishop to b5 or queen to c2 are the best moves. So instead, they played this. So now, that was an inaccuracy. Let's see, bishop to b5. It likes that move the best. Bishop to b5. And then we should block with bishop to d7. But in the game, we have bishop to b2, which is an inaccuracy, so we have to figure out why that's an inaccuracy. Well, it says knight to d7 is the best move here, which I don't know, that or just castling. I guess this is an inaccuracy because if they try and push that pawn forward, or we can move this c pawn, you know, the rook will be under attack and it's unprotected, I guess. All right, so in the game, we played queen to a5, and that's not the best move. It looks like knight to d7, castling, or even e6 here. Just attacking that pawn. All right, so we played that, and it says this is still an excellent move, and black is ahead by half a pawn's worth of material. And so we're putting pressure on this. And now it recommends knight to f3, just developing a piece. Or queen to b3. They played queen to c2. Then we castled. All right, knight to f3, and here b6, which that is a mistake, and now white is ahead by almost a pawn's worth. So the game swung from almost a pawn worth in black's favor to a pawn's worth of material equivalent in white's favor after this move here. So better or best would have been e6 here. So then their best option is to capture. Second best is just push forward with this pawn. So if they capture, well, that would just help develop our bishop here. So, I don't know about that. So maybe it would have been better to push the, well, the computer says it's not quite as good to push that pawn. So now they would just play bishop to e2, and then we develop our knight here, but the game would have been better than what we ended up with. And also, okay, material's even at this point. Okay. All right, so in the game, we had this move, which was a mistake. They follow up with an inaccuracy, bishop to e2. Looks like it would have been better to move the knight back with maybe the idea of jumping over here and attacking the queen. Because that queen is really limited on where it can go. So this queen is almost in trouble, could end up getting trapped if a knight jumped over here. The queen and the bishop are covering these lines and this pawn, and the bishop here is preventing us from retreating. So we'd have to probably push a pawn and then try and back up this way. All right, so anyway, in the game, bishop to e2, it says instead they should have moved their knight where to d2 and threaten to trap our queen. And here it says, all right, well, now it's saying bishop to a6, but wouldn't that trap our queen? Bishop to a6. Would that trap our queen if we went there? No, okay, because we could go up here. Because I see. Once we move here, we would have an escape square here because the knight would be blocking the queen from covering a4. All right, so anyway, in this position, it looks like c4 would be best, blocking the path of our bishop. And back to the game. They played bishop to e2. We jump here thinking, well, maybe I can keep him from castling. Well, I don't know. It didn't even do that because even if I... well, okay. It is a threat because if I capture here, if he castles, I capture and his queen captures. Well, then we're threatening capturing here because the queen gets pulled away from the defense of this c-pawn. All right, so now in the game we had bishop captures, but just castling. It looks like that the computer says it's best to castle. So if they castle, then our best move is to go ahead, like I said, and capture here. The queen has to capture, and then I don't know. I think we could just pick this off right here. But it says that's the third best move. Even better is queen to a6, attacking their queen. And then trading queens off. But it didn't really like this. Well, it's the third best move, but it's not as good. Looks like capturing here. If we capture, they capture, our queen captures, and then they push this pawn forward. Okay, and they're going to end up just rolling these pawns down, end up with a passed pawn. Our knight still isn't developed. All right, and in the game, they captured, which we capture with our queen, and it says slightly better would be to capture with the knight because then you just develop that knight. So we go there, and I don't know, I was just trying to stop him from castling. So now knight to d2, and h4 would have been better to start attacking on our king side. So it looks like h4 keeps the game even. And here we could play h5 to slow him down, or we could ignore that and just develop our knight, or play e6 and attack their center here. All right, so in the game, we had knight to d2, an inaccuracy. Our best move is either c4 to limit the scope of that knight and gain some space here and block in this bishop, or play e6 and try and break apart their center here. And if we played e6, they should play c4 and just fortify the center here. And then we would capture. On b2, their queen would capture, then we would capture, but I don't know. All right. So, I think I went back too far. Okay, so we captured, or he captured, we capture with the queen. We have this knight to d2 move. Now we play knight to d7, which is a mistake. Better would have been e6. So let's take a look at that. e6, then c4, fortifying the center. Then we would capture. Queen would capture. And now we try and break the center up a little bit. They capture towards the center. So they have a passed pawn, but so do we. And now knight to d7 is the best move. And looks like a4, just gaining space over here, maybe, trying to slow these pawns down. And then f5. Ooh, that looks risky because they could just push forward and have both these pawns rolling through here. I mean, why wouldn't they play e4? Also, it says we should just bring our rook over here and line up on their king. So here, rook to a3. All right, well, I don't know. This kind of leaves our king open a little bit too. Okay, back to what happened in the game. Knight to d2. They push forward, fortifying the center. Now we play queen to b7, but that wasn't the best move. That was the inaccuracy. It looks like bishop to d4. Bishop to d4 would have been better. What? Bishop to d4. You think they would just capture, and then how do we protect this pawn up here? I guess we could try and push forward and maybe they capture en passant, but I don't know about that. b5 is another option. I don't know, maybe I like that better, but kind of breaks our pawns apart. Bishop takes b2. Maybe go ahead and trade that off. All right, anyway, we played queen to b7. And it looks like the computer wanted us to capture. So now they have the option to capture, which is best. We recapture. And now they should just castle and white will be ahead. Or a4, just start pushing on the queen side here. Which they go ahead and play a4. We move over here to try and keep an eye on things. maybe stop them from pushing this pawn. Also, if he pushes this, we can just capture, and it'll be protected by the queen. But, he would be able to pile up on that anyway, so we wouldn't be able to hold that extra pawn probably. Now it's recommending rook to a3, moving the rook up here where it can swing over, anywhere into the center or the other side of the board. So they castle, and the computer says that's best. We move here, and I thought, well, at this point I wasn't sure what to do, but it looks like this move is better. So I think I may have briefly looked at this move, but I decided against it because I didn't want to open things up in front of my king, any more than I had to. And I don't know, they could still push forward. I could capture, but I don't know, it would have opened things up in front of the king side, so I was hesitant to do that. It also recommends, well, let's go back here, e5. So just jumping forward with e5, g5, or just h6. All right, so now we centralize our rook. They do push forward and gain space here, and maybe they can start threatening an attack. So here e5 looks to be the best move. Interesting. Or e6 or even f6, but we played e6, and now looks like e5 would have been better to just push forward and cramp up my position. Instead, they finally play this rook to a3 move, but here it's an inaccuracy. Just pushing forward with e5 would have been better. So e5, man, then this threatens all kinds of things, because now they could push forward and just really cramp up our position with all this extra space. So in the game, rook to a3 was played. We responded by capturing, trying to break up the center a little bit. Looks like it might have been better to just push forward or push over with this rook to e8. They capture, and that's a mistake. Let's see. Or did it say a mistake? Yes, that's an actual mistake. It says they should have captured towards the center. And even though it would have left me with a passed pawn, which this is what I thought they were going to do. I thought they would capture this way. Then the knight could jump in here at some point. You have all these pawns together here that can just start pushing up the center. Here it says f6 would be the best move. And then rook to b3. All right, so in the game, we had this capture. We push here to gain space and to slow down this f pawn from maybe pushing forward and causing issues. They fortify their f pawn because our queen was lined up on it, and it might free up this rook to try and take the center. But he didn't do that. At this point, we try to take control of the center. He jumps his knight in to slow things down. Now king to g8 is the best move. We played h6 to keep his knight out, but it says that is a mistake. That king to g8 would have been the best move. And then here, knight to g5 would have been best, which is why I played h6. So now it looks like knight to f8 would be the best to cover that. Okay. And now rook to b1. Rook to b1. Well, that's an interesting move. Maybe to try and start attacking over here, push this forward, try and get some counterplay over here. Our best move would be rook to d6 to help cover this. Although now it's saying the queen move jumping over here would have been better. All right, in the game, we played h6. They move here to d3 with their rook, which is a miss. Better would have been a5 to try and break up these pawns on the queen side. So we could take a look at that. a5 is best. And here, man, it says b5 is the best move here. You know, I would have thought you either ignore it, you know, ignore this position, let him capture and you recapture. Well, then he could take control of this open file. But b5, not letting him open up this a file. And then here, why wouldn't they just capture? That's the second best move, but even better is queen to b2 check. Okay. Then we jump up here to block. They capture with the queen, and white is just ahead in this position, so I don't see why that's better. Well, excuse me, that would have been better for white, but I don't see how that b5 move would have been better for black. All right, so rook to d3. We play queen to d6 to slow this pawn down, and also to maybe be able to jump over here if we're checked by the queen. So rook to e4, check, we block. They do not want to trade, so they move away. Now we take control of this open file. They jump down here attacking our knight. And what would be best here? Queen to e7. Instead, we moved our rook up, and it's also saying rook to d8. All right, well, I don't know. Here, white is ahead. I would have thought they were, you know, more ahead than they are, but it says they're, well, here about half a pawn ahead. So they push forward. The computer says that's best. And now rook to f7 is the best move. But we played, okay, so we did play that. Rook to f7. And now a5 is the best move. So they double up over here. That's an inaccuracy. Looks like a5. Is that what the computer wants? It says that that is best, just to start breaking these pawns all apart here. All right. So instead, they double rooks. We move over here, which I guess we're threatening to capture this pawn here. And you know, we're doubling up. Maybe we can create some kind of threats up here on the king in the future. They jump down here to block this attack. All right, so here, could we have gone ahead and just attacked his rook? Now it says king to g8 is best here. If we go here, we have to watch out moving this knight. He can start trying to push this pawn forward. All right. So we jump up there, but it says g5 would have been better. g5? Wait a minute. g5 looks terrible. All right. Hold on. It's saying g5 is best. Why is that best? g5. They capture. We don't want to recapture, or their knight captures and just forks our rook and our queen. So here, rook to e2 would be best. And then we're threatening an attack up here on their king. So best for them would be queen to b3 to stop our queen from checking their king. And to keep the game even, they could just capture here with a check. So anyway, we didn't go into any of that. Instead, what did we do in the game? We moved our rook up to the 7th rank. They jump in here with their knight, and it looks like queen to b3 would have been better, to just jump up here and stop any checks by the queen. All right, so, or rook to e5, attacking our queen. Okay, well, in the game, we had knight to e5. Now here it says our king should just drop back to g8, or we should go ahead with g5, which maybe that looks a little bit better. Well, now our rook is under attack. So, they could just snap off our rook. But if they do that, then we have that attack up here. Check. Where does the king go? If he goes here, we mate. If he goes king to f1, we mate with the queen and rook. If he runs over here to the corner, well, then we just check over here, and then we have a mate. So best here, I don't know, I kind of like g5 out of the two. And then rook at 5 to d2. So does that work? Oh, no, the other one. Rook at 5 to d2. Or 1 to d2. Either way. Or queen to b3 to prevent this check here. Oh, well, the queen can't do that anyway. So anyway, they would just move one of their rooks and attack us. Maybe move this one back and attack here. And the game would be even. But now the computer doesn't even like that move. It says to just go back to g8 with the king. All right, well, let's finish this up. In the game, we captured, which was a miss. So then their best option is to capture with the rook and attack us, which is what they did. So now our best move is to capture with the rook. And here, their best move is queen to b2, which is what I looked at in the game and I thought was a possibility that could give me problems. And it looks like I was right about that. So let's take a look at that. They captured with the f pawn, but they had this, which does not look good because now we're pinned. So if they capture with the pawn, the queen will be covering it. We can't recapture, and they'll have two passed pawns. All right, so king to g8. Once again, it wants that king to g8 move. And then queen takes, or now f takes e5 is best. F takes e5. F4. Why would you do that? I guess it opens up the position here. You can start trying to check their king. But here, white would just be ahead. I don't know. And we have to watch out for this. This rook trying to push forward. And I don't know, it's looking really passive here. And so that would have been a disaster as well if they would have played that. But in the game, they didn't find it. They captured this way. So now we were able to recapture. So they move up here to prevent a check. I was thinking also, what happens if the king just moves up here? king to f2. Does that even work? What if they played that? Oh, that's a disaster because of this f4 move and breaking open, letting the rook try and attack here. All right, so they definitely don't want to do that move. So let's delete that. All right, so queen takes e5. They play queen to b3, which was the best move. Then rook to d7 is our best move, to stop this pawn from pushing forward and promoting. And now better would have been to attack our queen here. All right, so best would have been rook to d5 attacking, which seems kind of crazy because then we could chase their king up here. But this is what they're showing. Rook to d5. We would have queen to e1 check. King has to go here. Then queen to e4. Or what if we just check here? Like with this. Check. They don't want to go to h3, or it looks like that's a mate. Mate in 3. So if they go queen to h3, we check them. All right, I guess I could show you that. But their best move is king to g1. So this is what they should do. King to g1, queen to e1, king to g2, queen to e2. Is it just going to be a draw? I mean, this is looking like it would just be a draw here. King to g2. Queen to e2. And I don't know. It looks like it would just go back and forth and be a draw. So if we go back, let's see, instead of let me go back here. All right, so in the game, if they move that rook up here, attacking our queen, and we go here, and then they go here, they don't want to do that because then we just have queen to f1 check. The king is forced to go here. And then we can just do g5. Their only move would be here, and then the queen can jump in there. So that was an interesting little mate possibility. All right, I better hurry this up. I'm dragging it out pretty long. King to f6. They try and bring their king up, which is an inaccuracy. It looks like king to f1 would have been slightly better. We played queen to d4. So here looks like that's best. They capture, we capture, they capture, and now best is to run over here and go after that pawn. So here they should have played g4 or a5. It looks like. So let's see, g4. That at least starts attacking over here. So, I mean, I guess we should look at that. g4. Rook takes. And now, capture with check. We would capture, so at least that breaks things apart. Now, rook to h4. And it looks like, what, king to f7 is best? Or king to e5. Yeah, that kind of looks a little bit better. At least there you're protecting the pawn over here. So now king to e3, grabbing the opposition. And, oh, that's crazy. Rook to d1. It wants us to just give up this pawn. And it says that's the best move. Rook to, well, now it's saying that's a mistake. That's because I went the wrong way. All right, so let's delete that move. It said d1 here. So they would capture. And it looks like I should have just gone after these pawns. All right, so if they do that, what does it want us to do now? Go rook to a1. Go after this. And then c5 attacking. Rook to a3 check. Pushing the king away first. And then capturing here. And now what? Rook to a6. Going here. Oh man, yeah, that's a crazy ending. That would be pretty crazy. All right, so in the game we captured. They go here, which is an inaccuracy. Better would have been to check. So let's see, rook to e3 check. And now rook to e3 check. So here, king to d7. It would be better to head over here towards these broken pawns. So then h4 is best to try and, I don't know, maybe slow things down over here. And now rook to d4, going after this pawn. c5, capture, breaking these apart. h5, trying to break apart our pawns. Capture. Rook to e5. And best is to push the passed pawn. Rook captures. King to d6. All right, well, it says that would be best, but now it's probably going to tell me something else. c6. I guess you get behind this pawn and you prevent the rook from being able to swing behind, because now if the rook goes here, what do? King to c5, and you protect this. So king to e3. Anyway, this is tricky stuff. Rook endings can be complicated, especially if you do what you're supposed to and you make your rooks active and attacking instead of too defensive and passive. All right, so we had this move. So here, rook to c6, and that was a mistake. So there, I definitely shouldn't have done that. I should have went check. King goes up here and attacks me, centralizing and giving up this pawn. But now, instead of capturing that, it looks like rook to a2 is the best. Just going after this, and we're still attacking that. So c5, capture, rook to what? b5, going after that. Rook to a3, check. Now king to d2. Ooh, I don't know. That looks pretty crazy, but I mean, I guess they're going over here to stop these passed pawns. King to d5. We go up here to protect this. Rook to a5 to pick this off and protect this. So now king to d4. Rook takes. g5. They start pushing their passed pawn. But now we go after it. Rook to f7 is best. Just giving that up. So we go ahead and capture. They capture. Rook to a2 check. King moves up in front of the passed pawn. We go ahead and capture. And I don't know, at this point, what's the evaluation? Black is winning here with 2 extra pawns. It's with 1 pawn you may be able to stop your opponent, but it's harder with 2. All right, so looks like rook to f8, getting ready to just jump in behind these pawns, I guess, or pushing forward. All right, so in the game, we turn our active rook into a passive one, which was a mistake. Then they make a mistake doing the same thing, playing defense of this pawn, but at least they can help push it forward possibly at some point. It looks like better would have been this, which is what I was wondering if they would try to do. Then we should capture. Then rook to e3 check. King to d6. Rook to a3 going after this. And here rook to a6 protecting, and then our king can jump up here maybe and go after this, and our rook would protect over here. So they would try this, and now king going over and putting pressure on that, and we could possibly jump down here and protect these pawns. King to e3. Now the king is trying to get active. We go here to stop the king from harassing our pawns. h4. Now it's saying that's a mistake, that better would have been king to d3. So let's get rid of that. Delete. King to d3, just going over here to help protect this. But we have f4 pushing the unopposed pawn in the pawn majority. Once they capture, we capture. Now we have this passed pawn. They have to go over to stop this. Now we pull them further away by playing f3. It's also saying we should have pushed over here. So the king takes. And then king to d4. King to d4. Anyway, a tough battle here. So in the game, we continue by pushing this, but now it doesn't like this. Best would have been king to d6, just to move our king over here to help. So something like that. And now, in the game, let's see, a6 was played. They jump over there with their king, but it looks like a5 would have been better to just attack here. Oh, and now, if we played b5, rook to e3 check, king to d6, they take, we take, They go rook to e8 to get behind the passed pawn. We play c5. Oh, it doesn't like that. It's saying that that's a mistake because of that passed pawn. So better would have been what, to immediately attack this, which makes sense. King to e3. Jumping to, anyway, you get the picture. So in the game, our kings try and jump up into the center, and then a blunder was played. So let's see what this blunder was. So after I played king to e5 there, instead I should have pushed the pawns. They play king to f3, but their best move would be an immediate king to d3. And then I should play g5 and start pushing my pawn majority over here. But after their king to f3 move, I play g5, which is an inaccuracy. So to take advantage here, it looks like I should have just immediately attacked his rook. So then rook to b3, king takes. And now we have an advantage. Pawn majorities on both sides. So rook to b2, threatening, a possible attack here. Actually, it's saying better would have been rook to b1 would have been best, threatening to move over here. And our king would have to back up to protect the rook. And then here b5, just start pushing our pawn majority, our unopposed pawn in this small majority here. And anyway, black should be winning there if they don't blunder like I blundered in the game. All right, so they blundered, but we didn't take advantage of it. Then they move over here to keep me from going after this pawn. We create a passed pawn over here. Now they have to guard against that. Now we jump over here, but it's not as good. b5 immediately would have been better. So we capture. And then they go over there. What is best here? All right. Well, it looks like b5 immediately here is the best move. So what did we play? We played capture. Now it's saying that's the best move. They go here, forking these pawns. So what is best? Now b5. I should have just started pushing this passed pawn. Then they would capture here. Then we push a5, it looks like. They jump forward. We go b4. And do they just keep pushing their pawn? It's saying moving our rook over immediately would be better. So there. Or here with check. But anyway, then we have what? King to c3 to help escort this up. Now h5. Rook to a1 to get over here and try and stop this. Rook to c6 check. King to b2. h6. It's really thinking now. It even likes this move to prevent the rook from going after this pawn. So now we have f3. King to g3. That's saying we should just take that because now we can still protect this. A4. We just start pushing forward. Now it recommends just pushing this pawn. But now, let's see. Rook to H1. We finally go after it. And rook to A6 here. A3. We start pushing that way. And it's not looking good. Anyway, now black is just winning. All right, so in the game, we had rook to A3. Check, they capture. We go this way, and it does not like that. Best would have been instead B5 to just start pushing that passed pawn. So we played H3. They capture, which is best. We capture. We just gave up all our advantage there, so not good. All right, so now we come to the blunder, the terrible blunder of the game. So always look for unprotected pieces and do a tactics check before you move too quickly, or you end up with something like this, where my king has to move. They pick this off, and I should have resigned here, but I played on a little further to see if there was a stalemate possibility. But if you know what you're doing, it's easy to just trap your opponent here and checkmate. All right, well, that video went long. So tomorrow I will do a Chess Beginner to Winner series video on how to avoid blunders. So keep an eye out for that if you have a problem with blunders. Thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already to support the channel. Feel free to leave comments, suggestions, or any requests on something you would like to see. And hopefully I will play better in the next day, which is what, day 46. All right, well, thank you all for watching and have a super chess day.